You're seeing this video because something is shifting. This isn't random scrolling or algorithmic coincidence. You have been chosen at this precise moment to receive a transmission that will rearrange the coordinates of your reality. What I'm about to share is not motivational fluff or another how-to checklist. This is the threshold test that sits at the edge of every genuine breakthrough. Less than 1% of people ever tune into this frequency. And if you are here now, you have already passed the preliminary screening. The question is simple. Are you ready to step through the portal that is opening? Most people spend their lives waiting for external validation. A cleared bank account, the call that proves they're on the right track, a credential that validates a dream. They search for proof in other people, in circumstances, in the liturgy of results. But the reality the universe is whispering to you is different. The void before manifestation, those delays, closed doors, empty calendars, is not absence. It is incubation. It is a calibration. You have reached what quantum physicists call the collapse point, the razor-thin instant where infinite possibility collapses into singular reality. Everything you have invested in, every meditation, every tiny act of faith when logic told you to run, has been a thread drawing you to this coordinate in space-time. Particles in quantum mechanics do not decide on a state until they are observed. Likewise, your desires have existed in superposition, holding all versions of themselves until attention collapses them into one lived life. That moment is now. And here is where most people stumble. Right at the threshold of receiving what they have asked for, they panic. They tighten their grip. They start refreshing inboxes, checking bank balances, and bouncing between hope and despair like a child looking for a parent in a crowded room. This behavior is backward. At the final stage of manifestation, the operative move is complete energetic surrender. Not resignation, not passivity, but a conscious release of how the universe should deliver and an absolute calibration to the frequency of receiving. To understand what I mean, look at nature. A seed doesn't micromanage the weather or negotiate a blueprint with the soil. It surrenders to the intelligence that grows trees, trusting the same force that spins galaxies and choreographs atoms. Surrender is not laziness, it's radical alignment. The cosmic joke is that everything you have longed for has been seeking you with equal intensity. While you scanned for proof, synchronistic forces were lining up resources and people. They were slowly clearing a path so that when the moment arrived, your dreams could walk into being without unnecessary friction. Timing is not late. It is precise. This is the first major shift I need you to hold. Release is not the abandonment of desire. It is the release of attachment to a specific form. When you let go of how something must appear, you give the universe permission to deliver something far more expansive than your limited imagination allows. This is not magical thinking. It is quantum mechanics reframed as lived practice. Let's make the bridge explicit. In quantum theory, when two particles become entangled, they affect one another instantly, no matter the distance. Your consciousness is entangled with your desires. When you truly release, those entangled threads begin to vibrate with receiving energy rather than wanting energy. Wanting energy broadcasts lack. Receiving energy broadcasts readiness. One pushes the world away through tension. The other draws the world near through resonance. The former collapses superposition into limitation. The latter collapses it into possibility. So, how do you switch from wanting to receiving? There are practical, repeatable steps. Not tricks, but identity work. The secret separating the 1% from the rest is not that they visualize better. It is that they identify as people who naturally receive. Their default posture is readiness, not need. Most people say, I'm trying to manifest X. The receiving identity says, I am ready to receive X. That subtle grammatical pivot rewrites your nervous system. Resistance will show up. Your mind will produce an avalanche of reasons why this cannot possibly apply to you. Old stories, evidence that seems to contradict the possibility. Don't mistake resistance for failure. It is often the final gatekeeper. Think of every hero's journey. Right before the boon appears, a last trial tests whether the seeker is truly ready to hold it. You have been building resilience through every disappointment and tiny act of faith. Now those investments are about to pay. The timing of your life is not arbitrary. Unseen elements are lining up. People are being nudged into position. Opportunities are ripening. Surrender feels terrifying because you are letting go of the illusion that you were ever in complete control. You are stepping into partnership with the same intelligence that grows your fingernails while you sleep. Here's a practical switch that will change everything. Instead of visualizing the specific details of a goal, the exact job, the exact scene, visualize yourself as someone who naturally receives. See how that person moves through rooms, how they breathe, how they respond when news arrives. Feel their posture, feel their calm readiness. Do this for 5 minutes, morning and evening, until the identity solidifies. This exercise is not aesthetic. It trains your nervous system to expect and embody the field that your desired reality requires. After this, comment in the video with the phrase, "I am ready to receive what is already mine." Write it with feeling. Make it a declaration to the quantum field. Now let's dive deeper into the science and into practice. Quantum physics gives us precise metaphors and sometimes exact mechanisms we can adopt as a spiritual toolkit. 3 concepts will ground the rest of what I teach: superposition, entanglement, and decoherence. Superposition is the state where possibilities exist simultaneously. Your desire is not over there in some future. It already exists in the field as a set of potential realities. Entanglement is the invisible connection between you and those possibilities. Decoherence is the process by which observation, premature or fear-driven, causes the quantum field to collapse into limited outcomes. Checking for proof is a subtle form of measurement that can cause decoherence. That's why the final phase needs restraint. You must protect coherence while the field completes the organization. This is the dark night many mystics referenced and that physicists call the quantum vacuum state. The vacuum is not emptiness, it is the most fertile creative field. Virtual particles, ephemeral and invisible, flicker endlessly within it. Your desires currently exist as virtual manifestations here, fleeting, powerful, and real in their effects even before stabilization. Synchronicities are the footprint of this activity, those chance meetings, that exact book falling off a shelf. These are the vacuum's particles nudging events into place. Understanding decoherence clarifies why your impulses to constantly check are counterproductive. Every check collapses possibilities into the limited model your senses currently accept. The wise course is to minimize measurement while increasing readiness. That is the paradox. To receive, stop trying to prove the arrival. But we are not stoics or passive recipients. Inspired action will flow naturally when you are aligned. There are 2 kinds of action. Forced action comes from impatience and fear. It's frantic, exhausting, and usually ineffectual. Inspired action feels effortless, energizing, and coherent. It is the body's response when the field opens a channel through which resources can travel. You will feel the difference. A forced email creates anxiety. An inspired phone call opens a door. Learn the somatic difference and follow the inspired impulse. Let me offer a practical micro-program you can run this week to anchor these principles. This is not a magic pill, it's an identity protocol that rewires attention. 7-day identity coherence program. Day 1. Audit the field. Write down 3 recurring assumptions you have about money, relationships, or status. These are not beliefs you like to think about. They are the habits that shape your day. Name them without shame. Day 2. Frame swap. For each assumption, write 3 alternative frames: mechanical, moral, and narrative. For money, mechanical, numbers and flow; moral, money as a tool for contribution; narrative, abundance as the story of your life. Try living through one frame for the day and notice what decisions change. Day 3. Receiving identity rehearsal. Spend 6 minutes in the morning embodying the person who already receives. Walk like them, breathe like them, see the world through their eyes. Repeat evening rehearsal. Day 4. Minimize measurement, reduce active external measurements, checking accounts, refreshing email, asking for validation. Replace measurement with journaling. Record your internal scenes, dreams, and small signals instead of scouring for external proof. Day 5. Inspired microaction. When you feel a pull, act within 1 hour. Not forced action, but the first small inspired step. Track what happens, you'll see patterns. Day 6. Ritual of surrender. Create a brief ceremony. Light a candle, state your desire aloud, then physically release a symbol. Write the how on paper and burn it, or fold and bury it. This material act supports energetic release. Day 7. Community amplification. Share your receiving identity with one trusted person. Ask them to witness, not verify. Witnessing without fixing is a rare social gift. If you run this protocol for 30 days, you will be surprised at how frequently the field reorganizes itself in your favor. Neurobiology supports this. Neuroplasticity shows that repeated practices rewire your brain. When you embody an identity across the day, not just in the morning ritual, you create persistent neural pathways that prime experience to match that identity. The nervous system cannot reliably distinguish a vividly embodied practice from lived reality. It responds by aligning physiology, perception, and behavior. A caveat: always rule out sensible biology first. Fatigue, palpitations, cognitive fog. Get the medical checks you need. Spiritual explanation should not replace pragmatic care. The wise path is both mystical and pragmatic. Now let's unpack a few more quantum metaphors that will deepen your ability to steer the process. Quantum tunneling explains sudden breakthroughs. In physics, particles sometimes tunnel through barriers that classical models deem impassable. The same phenomenon occurs here. You can phase into a timeline where those barriers never existed. The version of you who already lives your desired life has been sending signals backward. Those gut hits, sudden clarity, inexplicable nudges. When resonance meets opportunity, you tunnel forward. Phase locking is another critical mechanism. When two oscillators synchronize, they become phase locked. Your current frequency, your habits, posture, attention, is beginning to synchronize with the frequency of your desired reality. When synchronization passes a threshold, a phase transition occurs. The system leaps into a new stable state. Think caterpillar to butterfly. Emergence follows. New talents, opportunities, and relationships appear that you could not have predicted from the earlier system. These phenomena are not metaphors only. They are the architecture of change. When you practice coherent identity, you increase the entanglement entropy to a point where reorganization is inevitable. The field must either collapse into a limited state or reorganize at higher order. Choose reorganization. You might be wondering, how do I keep the coherence? How not to get distracted by daily dramas? Here are 8 practical habits that keep the field tuned. 1. Daily rehearsal. 2 times per day, embody the receiving identity for 5-10 minutes. 1. Symptom journal. Track signs, nudges, and synchronicities. Patterns reveal pathways. 1. Grounding. Resist purely ethereal practice. Put feet on earth. Do practical tasks that anchor the body. 1. Boundaries. Energy sensitivity increases. Say no to drains gracefully. 1. Micro rituals. Small ceremonies convert raw energy into narrative. Burn a page, bury a note, create a morning gesture. 1. Somatic check. Before action, ask, does this feel easeful or clenched? Follow ease. 1. Community witness. Find one person who sees your shift without needing to fix it. 1. Prototype public action. Create one small, tangible demonstration of your new identity. Teach, volunteer, build a prototype. The sacred must be social. Another sharp point. Gratitude as alignment. Gratitude changes your electromagnetic signature. But the key is the why of gratitude. Do not use gratitude as a bargaining tool. I'll be grateful to get more. Instead, practice gratitude as recognition, a fundamental acknowledgement that the universe is already generous. That shifts your vibration from strategy to resonance. Let me close with a deeper, practical map for long-term integration. A 3-month coherence plan that scales the 7-day program. 3-month coherence plan. Month 1, foundation week by week, run the 7-day protocol. Build a 5-minute morning and evening identity rehearsal. Keep the symptom journal and list 3 daily synchronicities. Month 2, integration. Add weekly prototype day where you create public evidence of your identity, a micro workshop, a sample product, a donation. Increase inspired action windows. Act within 1 hour of impulses. Deepen grounding practices, nature walks, manual craft, cooking. Month 3, amplification. Teach what you've learned to one other person. Design a small community ritual that amplifies the receiving frequency. Neighborhood notice, walking group, barter. Reflect monthly on how your priorities and relationships have shifted. The steady work is not glamorous, but it produces emergence. New properties will arise. Creativity that used to hide. Opportunities that suddenly feel normal. Relationships that resonate easily. This is not wishful thinking. It is the measurable effect of coherent practice operating through biological and quantum mechanisms. Finally, a luminous reminder. The version of you who lives your desired reality is not a future goal to be achieved through blood and sacrifice. It is an already existing potential in the quantum field. You are not inventing this self. You are remembering and flipping attention to it. Every moment you choose the response of that expanded self, you strengthen the coherence of that timeline. Over time, destructive interference, the canceling of expanded and contracted waves, becomes rare. The two selves merge until you walk through life with the effortless magnetism of someone who naturally receives. If what I've shared landed in you, if some inner switch clicked, do 3 things right now. Comment 1 word that captures what you're choosing to release. Write the phrase, "I am ready to receive what is already mine," with feeling. And subscribe, not to the channel alone, but to this frequency of living. Each subscription is a personal act of alignment. We are standing at the edge of a new human possibility, a people who co-create with universal intelligence rather than attempt to wrestle reality into submission. Your breakthrough is closer than your next breath. Your life is not a piecemeal of tasks to complete. It is a harmonic field to be tuned. You are already more than you have been told. The only thing left is to remember, embody, and allow. This is the Thought Alchemist.